Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel, The Beautiful Stitches. I'm glad you're here with me. I love you from the bottom of my heart. You're welcome once again to my channel. Today we're going to be joining our notched collar jacket. Remember from our last tutorial we made a pattern drafting for our notched collar jacket. Okay, so I've added the necessary allowances needed for this notched collar jacket. Here is my front panel. Okay, let me remove the pins. Here is my front panel. Remember, the lining is longer than the main fabric. Remember, I use the pattern paper to cut out the main fabric, and the lining is 1.5 inch longer. The fabric is 1.5 inch longer than the lining. Okay, the same thing applies to the other sides of the fabric, the back, the sleeve, and every other part of this fabric. Okay, so this is our front panel. Okay, you can see from what I said earlier, our main fabric is longer than the lining, so this is our back panel. Okay, let me remove the pins so that I can join them together. I can assemble them. Okay, I pin them this way so that I don't make mistakes when I want to join them. Okay, so this is my front panel. This is my center front and side front. So what I'll be doing now, I'll be picking the center front, side front, and pin them together according to how I'm going to join it on my machine. Right side facing right side. Okay, that's what I'm going to be doing right away. Okay, this is our sleeve. For now, I'll be putting it aside. Later on, we'll be attending to our sleeve. So this is my collar. I've cut it out. I've used my pattern paper to cut it out, and I've also added an interface to one side of the collar. Remember, I cut it on fold and I cut out two pieces. So I put interface on one. Okay, gum stain. I use it to put on one side of the collar. All right, so let me keep it aside also. All right, let's go to the front panel. Okay, let me shift this aside so that I don't mix it up with the front panel. So let's start with the front panel. Remember, the lining is shorter than the main fabric. Okay, as you can see. All right, so this is the front panel. We have the lining and the facing for the front. Okay, I'll shift it to one side, and this is the main bodice. Okay, so let's pick it one side to the other. Okay, this is the front, this is the front, so this is the right side, one side. Okay, this is one side, this is another side. Remember, right side facing right side. Okay, so that we can join it correctly. As you can see, this is for this side, so let me pin it down. As you can see, I've already marked the wrong side and the right side. So this is the wrong side, and the right side is facing the right side. All right, let's pin it and shift it to one side. Okay, this is for the other side of the front bodice. Okay, the same thing I did for the other one. Right side facing right side. You can see, turn it over and pin it down. The same thing I did for the main bodice is the same thing I'll do for the facing and the lining. Okay, so this is for the facing. I'll turn it the other way and then pin it. Okay, this other facing too, place my lining correctly and also pin it down to the facing. I'm doing all this so that when I take it to my machine, I'll not start looking for which one is supposed to join with which one. Okay, It makes my work easy and fast. All right, over to the back panel. So the same thing I did for the front panel, I'll also do the same for the main bodice of the back panel and also for the lining. Okay, so I'll turn it, open it out, locate the right side to right side. Okay, making sure the right side is facing each other, as you can see what I'm doing. All right, I'm done with the main body. So the same thing we did for the main bodies, we'll also do the same for the lining and pin them together. So what I'll do now is to take it to my sewing machine. Okay, so when I take it to my sewing machine, I'll sew it side by side. All right, each side, remember we have center front, center back, side back, side front. Okay, so I'll be sewing it down. As you can see, I've pinned them already, so I'll sew it from the hip line down to the armhole region. Okay, I'll do the same for the other remaining sides. All right, let me take it to my machine. The same thing also applies to the lining. Okay, all right, I finished joining the sides. As you can see, this is for the back panel. I started with the back panel for the joining now. So I finished joining the sides for the back panel and also for the lining. So what I'll do now is to place the two sides of the back together, right side facing right side, and join it also from the hip down to the neck line. Just watch out what I'm doing. As you can see, the same thing I'll also do for the lining. Okay, let me take it to the machine. Okay, I finished joining the two sides together. Okay, you can see it's gradually taking shape. My back panel has been joined together, the lining has been joined together, the main fabric has been joined together. So let me keep it aside and then go back to the front panel. So what I will do for the front panel is also to take it to the machine and sew it also side by side, just the way I did for the front, for the back panel, sorry. Okay, I'll do the same for the interface and the lining and for the main fabric. Okay, let me take it to the machine. Okay, I finished joining my front lining and front bodies. As you can see, one side of the facing to the lining, just like that. You can see is correctly placed. If you don't pin it that way, you might end up joining the wrong side to another wrong side. As you can see, all right, I've joined the front and the back. So the next step to take now is to pick the facing. Okay, as you can see, the side that contains the facing, place it on the back lining. Let me remove this so that I can place it correctly and show us what I mean. Okay, you place it this way, making sure the neck area is well aligned, as you can see. So I'll hold it on the neck region. I'll also place the other one. Make sure the right side is facing the right side, as you can see. All right, I'll also do the same thing for the main fabric. Place it this way, pick my front side, the two sides of my front, placing one on each side, making sure the neckline and the shoulder aligns together this way, and I will sew it at the shoulder line. I'm going to join it there. All right, make sure the right side is facing the right side. Let me take it to my machine and join it together. Okay, all right, I finished joining it. As you can see, our jacket is already taking a very beautiful shape. So this is for the main bodies and this is the line. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is to join it on the side. As you can see, I've given it a good press, both the lining and the main fabric. So I'll do now, I'll take it to the machine and join it on the sides. Take my measurement, making sure I have accurate measurement. Remember, I added just 1 inch seam allowance, so I'll just sew it on the side, taking 1 inch seam allowance. Also, I'll use my measuring tape to confirm my measurement before doing that. Okay, so I'll align my main fabric and the lining, sew it down on the sides, taking up 1 inch seam allowance, just as we measured from our pattern paper before cutting on our fabric. Okay, the same thing I did for my main pattern is the same thing I'll also do for my lining. As you can see, I'll also join it on the two sides, taking up 1 inch seam allowance. So let me take it to my machine. Okay, and also remember, after joining the two sides, that's when I'll be joining my sleeve. Okay, so I've finished joining the two sides. As you can see, our jacket is looking very beautiful. All right, so as you can see, I've joined the two sides. It's looking very fine. So what I'll do now is to join my sleeve to my main bodice, the main sleeve to the main bodice, and the lining to the lining. So I will hold down my sleeve. Remember, I added 1/2 inch seam allowance. Hold it down from the armhole region down to the wrist region, and then attach it to the main fabric. I'll also do the same thing to the lining, join it also, and attach it to the lining for the jacket. Okay, let me take it to the machine. Yeah, I've done that. I've joined it. As you can see, main fabric to the main fabric, lining to lining. You can see the sleeve. I've attached the sleeve to the main fabric. It's looking very beautiful. So okay, so this is also the lining. I finished attaching the sleeve also. As you can see, it's looking very neat and beautiful. Okay, I've attached the both sleeves. All right, so this is the wrong side, this is the right side, and this is the wrong side. All right, so what I'll be doing now, the next thing I'll do now is to attach the collar, and I will attach it to the main bodice. So before I attach my collar, I'll take it to the machine and join it together, right side, wrong side facing wrong side. So I'll hold it together from one edge to another. Okay, I'll hold it down and join it to my main fabric. As you can see, I finished joining my collar. That is the point where I held it from down to the other side. As you can see, I added an interface to one side of the collar. So what I'll be doing now is to attach it to the main bodice. Okay, placing it on the right side of the fabric. Okay, remember, I added 1/2 inch seam allowance for joining, so I'll be using 1/2 inch seam allowance to join it on the fabric. So I want to make a notch the midpoint so that it will align with the midpoint of the back panel. So let me make a notch at the midpoint. Okay, just like as I'm doing it now, I've made a little notch there. So I'll connect it to the main bodice, making sure my notch aligns at the center back. Remember, I also faced it right side facing right side. Okay, and also before I attach my collar, I'll also mark out the center front, because that is where my collar will stop. Okay, the center front, I'll make a notch at the center front, because that is where my collar will stop. Okay, so let's attach our collar. Place it on the right side of the main bodice, making sure the notch is at the midpoint, at the center back, and then pin it down, just like as I'm doing now. Okay, I'll pin it down. Okay, as you can see, I finished pinning my collar. I finished pinning it down to my main bodice. Okay, so what I'll do now, I'll sew down from the center point, center front, down to the other center front on the front bodice. Okay, all right, here is my collar. I've attached it to my front bodice. Okay, as you can see, it's looking very beautiful. I've attached it to my front body. So what I'll do next now, I'm going to be placing my lining. Okay, I'll be placing my lining on the main bodice. Okay, just the way I place my fabric now, I'll place the right side facing up with the collar facing the right side, and then place my lining on top of the main fabric. That is right side facing right side with the collar inside. Okay, just the way I'm doing it now. So I'll pin it from the midpoint, that's the center back, down to the lapel area, and also I'll also pin down the hem of my jacket. I'll also pin it down from one end to the other. After pinning it down, I'll sew that area first. I'll be joining the hem before I'll join the sides. This is because the lining is longer, the fabric is longer than the lining. So if I join the sides, it will affect the hem of my jacket. So I'll join the collar before sewing the hem of my jacket. Then I'll now hold the sides. Okay, as you can see, I finished joining the hem of my jacket. Okay, as you can see, the right side is facing the right side. Okay, let me show us what I was talking about. So we're going to be holding the sides now. As you can see, the fabric is longer than the lining. So okay, as you can see, so let's fold it and hold the sides. As you can see, all right, so we are going to be holding the two sides now. Also remember, we've not joined the sleeves. Okay, so we'll be joining the sleeves also. And on the center back, I have an opening about 5 to 6 inches opening, where I'll be pulling out my jacket, my fabric, after sewing. So after joining the two sides, I'll be pulling out my fabric from that opening. So what I'm going to do now is to pull out my sleeve, okay, and show us what I'll be doing to the sleeve. Okay, so I'll be joining the two sleeves, the right side facing the right side, so that when we pull it out, the wrong side will be facing the wrong side. All right, so we'll be joining the sleeves. So let me show us what I'll be doing. So I'll be pinning the two sides, the two sleeves together, right side facing right side. I'll pin it round, okay, and join it together. Whatever I do to this sleeve is also what I'll do to the other sleeve. So I'll pin it together, sew it round, and then pull it out from the opening I made on my center back. So let's join it together. Okay, here is my jacket. As you can see, I've finished joining it together, and I've also joined the sleeves together. Let me pull it out. Okay, I'm bringing out the jacket. Let's pull it out and see how beautiful it is. It's very easy and simple. Okay, you can give it a trial and post it on our Facebook group, The Beautiful Stitches, and our page, also the beautiful sim. You can also visit us on Instagram at the beautiful sim and Twitter also at the beautiful sim. Give it a trial and post your video and post your picture on our group. Okay, here is our jacket. As you can see, it's looking very beautiful. So what I'll be doing now is to give it a good press. Okay, give it a very good press and stretch out the sides. Remember, we have an opening at the center back, so I'll be using my machine to close it up, or I'll use my hand sewing needle to close it up, depending on my choice and what I want to do at the moment. Okay, so our jacket. Thanks for watching this video. You can give it a trial. It's very easy and simple. All what you have to do is put in your effort. As you can see, our jacket have come out neatly and beautiful. Let me turn it this other way so that we'll see it clearly. Okay, very beautiful. It's very, very neat and beautiful. At the break point, what to do is to fix your button. I'll be fixing just one button for my jacket. I don't want two buttons. Okay, as you can see, I'll give it a good press and I'll fix my button at the break point. Okay, thanks for watching till the end. See you in my next tutorial. Bye bye.